Surprisingly, downstairs is not really sore.
Okay.
It's more just tired. My eyes sting like nothing else.
Why?
Because of all the... I think I repeat.
I still don't understand how this is legal. I don't understand how she could publicly announce this thing, have an online application for men to then apply. And mind you, she had no restrictions or no screening process for criminals. No screening process. She talked about that. But the fact that this can be so public and promoted and just open to, it's wild to me. And at the same time, because it's public, because it's so out there, people like me have to have conversations like this, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it makes you feel like, ooh, icky inside. We have to have adult conversations in a way where we're talking in code, because YouTube will totally flag us. But again, this is the man that was interviewing her post the 101 Men experience. This is her talking about how her eyes are stinging. They hurt because all of the fluids got into her eyes. And it's just so sad. But this man here that's commenting on this interview talked about how her soul left her body. And he's going to show us a time where he felt her soul has left the building. He specifically said she's like a dead woman walking now. She's not alive. She's not aware and present in her body. She's vacant. Again, he's not Christian. He's not speaking from a Christian perspective. Even him as a secular individual, I don't know his faith, but even he can understand that her soul is gone. Something else has taken over.
They said, you come on my face, but not in my eye.
And they just went right at the eyes.
Well, I think like it might have been an accident. But no, I mean, I've definitely seen some spunk today, Jesus. And it just took definitely a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I think it was when it was only like...
Okay, so here's when the realization starts coming home about what she's done. And she even admits basically she just turned off and turned into a robot.
I was like, I'm not even halfway yet.
Yeah.
And 40 is still a lot of people. Like, imagine 40 people and be like, I'm not even halfway, like, done.
When was the last time you ate?
I think I had a yum yum. Yum yum, is that what they're called? A little pastry. And I think I had a sandwich, and that was kind of, and then the rest come. It's not for the weak, girls, if I'm honest. It was hard.
Now she's tearing up right here.
I don't know if I'd recommend it. Give you a different...
She's tearing up right here.
She said, it's not for the weak, girls. It was hard. I don't know if I recommend it.
That's why I zoomed in on her face, because when she says it's not for the weak girls, she starts realizing what's happening.
It's not for the weak, girls, if I'm honest. It was hard. I don't know if I'd recommend it. Give you a different type of girl. It's very like... It's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense of like, it's just a different feeling. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
it's not like just having sex with someone.
Yeah. Just one in, one out. Like, it feels intense.
Like more intense.
Intense. Yeah. 101 men in 14 hours. That's a different level of intensity that most people will never experience in their lifetime. And we're going to talk spiritual, but I just want to get through some of the parts of this interview, and then we're going to really talk about what this means spiritually, which I'm sure you already know, but let's have a dialogue.
And you thought it might?
Definitely.
Sorry. Okay. Just take
She can't handle it.
All the breath, and I'll let her finish crying, but... That's the reality of this.
I think sometimes like feeling so like robotic.
She's alive, but she's not.
I think sometimes like feeling so like robotic. Like
here's the robotic part. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop that right there. Here she's saying it's robotic.
Like feeling so like robotic. Like by I think like the 30th, you know, like when we're getting on a bit, I've got like a routine of like how we're going to do this. And like it just, sometimes you'd like disassociate and be like, you know, like it's not like normal sex at all.
So that's a very clear indication that demons have completely taken over this girl's body. She said she dissociated. She wasn't even there. It turned robotic. She dissociated. She left her body. When people dissociate, I mean, this is a therapeutic term, we know that, but the whole concept of dissociation in the clinical psychological world is that a part of your awareness, consciousness, detaches from yourself. It's like an outer body experience sometimes because of whatever trauma or just whatever thing is happening in this moment that is not pleasant for the brain. Scientists, psychologists have conceptualized it in a very scientific way where part of your awareness leaves the building, leaves your body, and you just go somewhere else in some other place. And then you become more robotic in your body, but you're not necessarily in your body. You see what I'm saying? But spiritually, what is this? This is something has taken over the soul. Something has taken over the vessel. And now you are vacant. You are no longer there. It's like, imagine an entity or multiple, a legion of entities, because it seems like she was dealing with a legion of demonic spirits, to be able to allow her to even intake so much from that many men in such a short period of time. There were legions that were feeding off of these men's whatever they were giving her, right? And so imagine if a legion of demons are coming into your vessel, your soul is being pushed back. Your soul is being pushed back into the depths of your vessel. So now you don't even have a say so. Like they are driving the car. They are in charge. They are now masters of your vessel because you've opened yourself up to be a vessel to be used. Like they're using your vessel because you allowed them in. And now you don't have a say so. You don't have authority in your own vessel. And so that's what she's talking about here. She completely dissociated from herself, but really she just kind of went into the background of her own self. And she wasn't aware. Like she just checked out. It's hard for me to explain, but I know you know what I'm talking about.
She checked out.
She checked out.
Now remember, flashback to the video, the beginning of this video. It's my fantasy. It's exciting.
Yeah, so that's a good point because this is you see it's 50-minute long video, so we can't watch the whole thing, but he showed, and maybe we might go there a little later, but he showed some parts of a interview she did prior to when she was promoting this whole experience where she was saying, oh, it's just something I want to do. It's just fun. She didn't say it's my fantasy. She said, this is fun for me. This is just going to be such a fun time. And so those same demons are convincing her, distorting her awareness, making her think that this is fun. And if you watch the video about lust above, you'll know that I explained these spirits that cause us to lust. These spirits are craving. They are craving things and they need to be fed. And this is how they stay nourished and they stay alive. Demons need to be fed. They need to be given offerings pretty much. And the offerings that they need are our sin, right? And so through her sin, she's giving these demons offerings. She's feeding and nourishing these demons. And these demons were craving so much. So whatever she was going through before this, whatever opened up doors for so many demonic entities to come in and possess her and lead her to do this, these demons are hungry now. They're craving. That's why she had the capacity in her brain to even think of sleeping with this many men. It was an offering to these demons. Right? And basically, this is a ritual. It's a ritualistic practice. It's a demonic ritual that she probably didn't even know she was a part of. But she is not only sacrificing her own vessel, but she is giving offerings to these demons through this ritual of sex and sexual immorality, perversion, fornication. Can you imagine how many? 101 initiations in this ritual. It's just so sad.
It's wonderful. This is what I want to do.
In my head right now, I can think of like 5, 6 guys, 10 guys that I remember. And that's it.
She remembers only 5, 6, 10. 5, 6, 10 guys out of 101 guys. She remembers at the most 1/10. 10 times 10. Yeah, 1/10, right? That's the math, right? 10%. At the most, she remembers 10% of all the men that she slept with. That's how much she was not aware and present in her vessel. She checked out for the rest of them. We're going to get into how this applies to modern dating and the lack of celibacy. I promise you we're going to get into it.
But it's just, I don't know, it's just weird, isn't it? Like, if I didn't have the videos, I wouldn't have known I've done 100, you know?
Out of 100 men,
If she didn't have video footage, she would not have remembered. This is what demons do. And it reminds me of how when people drink and they black out and they have no idea what happened, but yet they were still able to drive. They were still able to talk, to walk, to party, to do whatever they were doing, to have full-blown sex. Like, they were able to do all of this as they were blackout drunk.
Expect to see Lily so upset at the end of it all. I thought perhaps in years to come she may look back at this day in sadness.
He was surprised that she was so saddened by her behavior. He thought that it was going to be years, the interviewer, he thought it was going to be years before she actually felt remorse or sadness, but it happened the day after, boom. But this is where things get interesting. This is where things get really, really interesting. She was so distraught that she had to hug her friend. She's having a breakdown, but this is where it gets wild. Listen to this.
Look back at this day in sadness, but not so instantly afterwards. She had stressed to me throughout my time with her how excited she was for this challenge and how this was her fantasy, so to see her so visibly upset at the end of it all was really sad.
Yeah.
But my confusion was only added to in the days following our filming with Lily, as she announced to her fans that in February of 2025, she would be sleeping with 1,000 men in a single day to break the world record.
Last week I did 101 guys. Now this was just the warm-up, because in February I'm going to be the first person ever to reach 4 digits of guys all in one day. Yes, 1,000 guys.
Maybe what we witnessed that night was just someone overwhelmed with emotion after completing such a monumental challenge. Or maybe we saw the true toll this career can have on a person.
You heard that, right? The interviewer at first was like, wow, she's really sad. Wow, she really sees what she did to herself. Just a couple days after, she sits down and makes a promo for her next record, which would break the world record for any woman ever in history to bed 1,000 men in a day, 4 digits. So don't you wonder what would take her from crying and looking visibly traumatized, can't get her sentences out without crying, to then a couple days later, 10x what she just went through. 10x. This is demonic possession. It's like her soul peeked out a little bit as she was talking to the man, because he's asking her actual questions. He's asking her questions that apparently exposed her soul, her true soul, exposed her spirit. And her spirit was clearly grieving during the time where she was sharing how horrific this was for her, how she checked out for the whole time. It was robotic. She remembers 1/10 of the men that she laid down with. So we got to see a little moment of her coming to terms spiritually with what she just did. But because she's so infested with demonic entities, they pushed her back. They pushed her spirit, they pushed her awareness back into herself. And they said, nope, we want more. Because the more you give them, the more hungry they get. The more you give them, the more entities they call in. It's like a magnet to even more demonic entities. It's like this house, this is a good house right here. She feeds us, she gives us offerings. So come on in, everybody, come in. Remember, Jesus had to cast out a legion of demons out of that man and sent them into the pigs, and the pigs ran into the water and drowned themselves. There was a legion of demons. Thousands upon thousands of demons was in that man. So this woman here, please pray for her. She's 22 years old. And whatever personal judgment you may have towards her, like you may be completely disgusted by her choices, her activity, all of the things. You just may not even want to try to pray for her, but God wants us to pray for people. He wants us to pray for our enemies. He wants us to pray for people who we see are clearly demonically possessed.